Hey, She Slayers, and welcome to another episode of She Slays the Day podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauryn Brunswick, and we are gonna geek out about crypto today, you guys. I'm so excited. Okay, so here's why I'm excited, because I have really been in the dark about crypto. Here is how I run my life. So here's some life advice for those that are like, how do you do it all? Well, you just find people you really, really trust and you hand over all autonomy to them and just pray to God they don't fuck you over. So I married somebody and I've just been praying that he's not catfishing me long term. And basically, because Kirby has degrees in marketing and finance, our roles have really been, I make the money, he invests the money. I spend the money. He tells me to stop spending when I'm spending too much. And that's just our cycle. Now, in the past few years, I've gotten much more. I used to do this like with the clinic of just like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And you know, I see the error of my ways for sure. And so now I definitely understand clinic stuff substantially more. I like get my hands dirty in those numbers. But when it really comes to crypto and what he's investing in and this and that, I'm like, okay, sounds good. And then I just keep seeing positive things online, probably because like my algorithm is whatever, just showing me positive things. I'm sure there's people's algorithm who are showing them a bunch of negative things about crypto. So I was like, you know what? It is time. It is time for me to finally understand more about this. So I have on Dr. Hans today, and he is at the Investing Tutor on Instagram. I met him years ago at a Kajabi conference and have been following him since online. And I love the way he takes such a complicated topic and helps the little man like me understand this. So now, for those, if you're coming into this and you don't know anything about crypto, you are going to know so much by the end. If you're coming in and you're like, give me the goods, I know a lot about crypto, you're also going to get some real good juice out of this episode. Basically, by the end of this episode, when I stopped recording, I turned to my husband and I said, how much are we investing a month? He told me, and I said, like, can we double it? Now, all right, just between us, because I'm hoping he kind of forgets it. And I don't know. I don't want this to be thrown in my face. So one of my goals in 2026 is to fly to Switzerland and it was, and to get like a Cartier watch because they're made in Switzerland. I haven't really looked into this that much, but I was like, yes, this is going to be my thing. And after talking to Hans, I literally said to Curb, I was like, I don't know. It might be not a good idea. I think that money would be better off invested in crypto than like on my wrist in a couple of years, type of thing. But like, it just really feels like the time is now. The time was for the last few years, but like Dr. Hans's predictions about what's going to happen over the next like 5 years with crypto, again, like I can buy a watch in 3 or 4 years. But anyways, if you see me walking around with a Cartier watch, you know that I got drunk in Switzerland and changed my mind. Or honestly, even New York, right? Like they've got Cartiers everywhere. Do I have anything else? Oh, okay. So at the end of this, if you were like, yeah, I want to start working with Dr. Hans. So he has a couple programs. I want to take just a second to tell you about them so you know, because they're really, in my opinion, like they're really cheap. Like I think he should charge more for them, but he didn't ask me. So he has 2 different programs. He has a generational wealth program and a generational wealth plus program. Now, looking at the 2 programs, I do think that if you're a healthcare provider, you've been around the block a little bit as far as like understanding some cash flow things and that, all investing in 401ks. If you've just heard some of our podcasts that we've talked about, I do think the Generational Wealth Plus program would be the one you'd want to do. Now, it is $1,997. But, so first of all, it's a huge library. So that's where I was like, I would have charged double if I were him. But so That's how much it is. Then here's the crazy part is a lot of programs, this is the way of the world things are going, is you like sell a program and then afterwards you sell access to a membership. You just get access after that into his private community. And that's where he does a ton of his teaching and like dropping like kind of the monthly stuff that he's doing with crypto is in his like private community, but that community is only for people who've gone through the program. And so like when I was like understanding, I was like, just really want to understand, like, I don't want my listeners to be not even say bait and switch to them, but like, okay. And so then like, where are you giving like the monthly updates? And they're like, oh, that's in our community. I was like, right. And so how much is the community? He's like, it's free after you've done that. I was like, what? So I'll have a link for you below. I mean, we honestly, even with what Kirby knows on all of this stuff and what we know, I want access to that community. So we're probably going to buy the Generational Wealth program this week, or the Generational Wealth Plus program this week. And there's crypto trainings in there too. So let's find out more about Dr. Hans and get going. Dr. Hans is the ideal person to teach you about investing. He was able to climb the ladder of financial success from the bottom 10% to the top 1%. He is an accomplished professional with a wealth of knowledge and experience in finance and investing. He holds an MBA with a path of distinction and a doctorate degree. He grew up in Ghana, West Africa. When he arrived in the US, he recognized the lack of investment literacy in immigrant and minority households. This fueled his passion for teaching others how to build wealth. He spent 13 years mastering the subject of money and has worked with over 10,000 members. Dr. Hans has been featured on Bloomberg and Business Insider and is trusted by the communities he serves. So let's take a breath and pray. Dear God, the world has been wild the last few weeks. And so I just want to show up and thank you and praise you and give you all of the honor that you deserve in my life and our listeners' life. God, I am so grateful for the 30 to 60 seconds that we take in these episodes to just connect. I wonder like the ripple effect of how many people who don't skip through, who that may have been the only moment in their day that they remember to connect with you. And so I'm reminded with all of the events happening recently of just continuing to put you at the center of it all, and be reminded that you are working in our lives even when we don't feel you or turn to you. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, without further ado, here is Crypto 101 with Dr. Hans. Enjoy. Dr. Hans, welcome to the podcast. We are going to geek out on crypto today. Oh my gosh. I have so many questions and they're all going to sound so stupid. No, actually, secretly, I'm a crypto expert, but I'm going to play the part today of our audience and ask those questions. So yeah. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm very excited for this. Crypto, digital assets, it's just something that I'm very passionate about. I believe more individuals should give this asset class a look. So, yeah, let's see where this conversation takes us.
Okay, good, because that already kind of takes me this. I wasn't going to ask this first, but like, so it's not too late. We're not too late. Like for people who are like, oh, it feels like I completely missed the boat. There's still plenty of like, it still makes sense to jump in. Yes.
Yes, it's like the internet in like 1995 or 1997 when it was on dial-up. Right. Yes, you can connect to the internet, you can own digital assets, but like broadband is in here, Wi-Fi is in here, all of the fun apps that you can have on an iPhone. The iPhone hasn't even been invented relative to where we are in the trajectory of this space super early.
Okay. So now that we got that out of the way for people who are like, oh, shoot, I missed that. Nope, no, you didn't. This is a good conversation to be having now, but probably not delaying too long. So take me back to like, how long has crypto been around?
Yeah, very good question. October 2008, an anonymous person in an online group chat shared that they've been working on a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So it's a fancy way of saying they've been working on a project that allows one person to be able to send something of value, which is Bitcoin, from one address to another person without going through a bank or a financial institution. Now you might be wondering, why is that important? Well, 2007, 2008, the world went through this moment where you had banks on the brink of collapse, not only in the US, in UK as well. And this individual or a group of people, we don't know if Satoshi is a person or a group,
We still don't know.
we still don't know. Yes. They saw what was going on and they felt like whenever super rich and wealthy, corporations, people make errors, meaning they become greedy and they bring the entire financial system on a brink of collapse, the government steps in to bail them out. And this individual is like, this is not fair. We need a better, more transparent financial system that treats everyone equally, fairly. And that led to the genesis or the creation of Bitcoin, which was the first crypto asset. So 2008 October was when the white paper was dropped, and 3 months after that, so January 2009, is when the first Bitcoin block, if you will, was mined. And yeah, so at that time there wasn't even any value associated to Bitcoin. So probably Bitcoin was like less than a penny at that time.
Okay, I promise we are going to get to way more like collegiate level. All right, not collegiate level. I'm not promising collegiate level questions, but like maybe like middle school or high school. But you just said mined and blocked, and my brain literally went to like Minecraft because I have a 10-year-old. What what does that mean? Like mining blocks.
Blocks. So let's put mining on the side for now. Most people will hear the term blockchain, and that concept of blockchain is the main innovation around Bitcoin. So let's speak first about that. So what is a blockchain? When individuals hear the term block or they think of a block, I want them to think of pretty much like an Excel sheet of transactions. That's a block. So think of a block as a block of transactions or like a Excel sheet of transactions. So I guess the question is, what are these transactions? Remember I said that the innovation of Bitcoin is sending something of value from one person to the other or one wallet to another wallet. So essentially this block of transactions, it's just tracking, okay, this wallet sent this amount of Bitcoin to another wallet. It tallies all of them up every give and take 10 minutes. Okay. And then after that 10-minute mark, that's where miners come in to verify transactions. So let's keep it, at a basic level. So who are these miners? What do they do? So miners have to, I'm trying not to make this too complex, but miners have to think of it as like a quiz that they have to solve, but it's not a quiz that a regular human can do. It has to be a computer
Okay.
being able to, it's almost like it has to crack a code,
Okay.
right? The way to solve this quiz is by using compute power. So depending on the advancement of the system that you're using, you're able to either solve the quiz faster or slower.
Okay.
Okay. So a miner comes in and they are using compute power to solve this, let's call it quiz. The one who solves it the fastest is rewarded a certain amount of Bitcoin. So think about it this way. There's an incentive system built in to encourage people to come in to solve this quiz, if you will. Why is that important? Well, while the system is trying to solve this quiz, it is also verifying transactions. What do I mean by this? So let's think of 10 individuals having a mining facility or mining equipment to help kind of process transactions. So each of the 10 different computer systems will be looking at a block of transactions. And when it's verifying those transactions, they'll see that, okay, this transaction was sent to this person, this transaction was sent to that person, right? And then the next computer is also going to do the same. So as all the computers are looking at all of these transactions, they will notice that every transaction is similar, meaning that it's being verified, meaning this transaction shows up on this computer, this other transaction shows up on the next computer, and all 10 computers have the exact same information within the block, right? The block is a list of transactions. Why is this important? Let's say someone wanted
I was
to.
going to say, like, why is this so complicated?
It is for multiple reasons. One, why is there a quiz or this compute power that's needed? It's because an individual has to use electricity to mine or to solve this quiz. Why is electricity important? Electricity has value. It costs something in the real world. So you cannot create Bitcoin without using something of value in the real world, right? So it ties a commodity that is important in the real world to the digital world. So
Okay.
that's one. You need something of value to mine for Bitcoin. While you are mining, it means you are verifying the transactions in the block. Why do all the transactions need to be the same? It's because, let's say a random computer is trying to fake transactions, right? So we spoke about 10 systems mining Bitcoin, meaning verifying transactions. Let's say there's an 11th that comes in, and that 11th computer is a hacker, and it's trying to say, oh, this wallet sent me 10 Bitcoin. But it's not true because the other 10 systems are like, now we don't see that transaction across these 10. The 11th system is obviously false. So the Bitcoin network
So it's
kicks them
more
off.
secure, like extremely more secure.
Exactly. So that's the process. So the miners are verifying transactions within a block. So coming back to the very beginning, blockchain. Why is it called a blockchain? Block is just a list of transactions, but each block is chained or linked to the next block that's created, meaning the next series of transactions. So the other question is, why do all these transactions have to be linked? It's because on the blockchain, everything is permanent. You cannot lie about a transaction that's happened. There's verifiable proof from January 2009 till now. Every single transaction is encoded into a block and it's there permanently. Why is that important? Because it allows you to see where every Bitcoin is going, who has it, and you can build upon that. So now we can have a world that is tokenized. We're not there yet, but what do I mean by this? Well, let's say you want to go and buy a car from a dealership or you want to go and purchase a house. In the current world that we live in, you need paper records to authenticate that you own the car. You need to go to the DMV they have to put,
Right.
you have to write things on a paper, right? So all of a sudden, if we live in a world where that data is placed on a blockchain, no one can reverse it. So we know verifiably, concrete proof that this transaction happened. So Lauryn purchased a condo, in Miami. It's encoded on the blockchain that the transaction happened this date and time. Let's say a random person comes and says, no, I own the condo. Okay, let's go back to the blockchain. Let's look at that block. at this date and time, and let's see who really owns it. Right? So Bitcoin was the first blockchain, but other ones have been created since then. But it's the concept of verifiable proof of transactions.
I think you did an excellent job of explaining that. Okay, so you let's talk about a couple of other like terms. So you said like Bitcoin. So like Bitcoin is a form of or like is a
A type of
currency in of
cryptocurrency.
crypto. So like crypto is the overarching.
Overarching,
Okay.
yes.
And you mentioned wallet. So okay, so what's somebody's wallet?
Yes. So let's think about physical wallets. An individual,
Yeah.
a purse, a wallet, you keep your money in there, and it's in your possession. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So in the same way, think about it as a digital version of that, like a digital purse or a digital wallet. It is in your possession. It's not at a bank. It's not with a financial institution. It is yours. You have what's called full custody of it and ownership of it. So it's a digital version of it. I guess the best way for me to share an example is Apple Wallet. You keep your cards on your Apple Wallet, and whatever is on that wallet is in your possession. It's on your iPhone. Does that make sense? So a digital wallet allows you to be able to hold crypto assets.
Got it. And we'll get into like setting up a wallet, like just getting into it. But then like, okay, so what are some other like key terms that somebody should understand before we kind of go into like, all right, I am going to day one start investing in crypto.
Yeah, I guess the main term is cryptocurrency, right? So, what is cryptocurrency? And then we'll move to digital assets. Cryptocurrency, let's take those two terms, similar to what we did with blockchain, right? Blockchain, a block of transaction, it's chained or it's linked in perpetuity so that there is verifiable proof. Cryptocurrency, so cryptographic, right? What does cryptographic means? It means that it is something that is secured. It cannot be hacked, it cannot be changed, it cannot be altered with, right? It's cryptographic, right? Currency. It's something that has monetary value, if you will, right? So it's secure currency.
Got it.
It is the simplest way that I can kind of define it. Now, let's move to digital assets. Cryptocurrencies are native to the internet, meaning they live on the internet. Anywhere that there's internet connection, whether on a cell phone, Wi-Fi, anywhere in this world, those assets are available, literally, right? So it's not like the US where you have stocks, and if you leave the US to go to a different country, well, your stocks are still in the US. With crypto assets, they are available globally and they are digital. This is a huge innovation. Most people are not catching how it's a big deal. Most people in the health profession, when they start earning a decent amount of money, the thing that they gravitate to is real estate. Why? Because it's an asset class that's been there um, for centuries. And if you buy real estate, the value goes up. Most people don't even understand why the value goes up, which is a whole conversation by itself. It's mainly because countries print a lot of dollars. And if you're printing money, an asset within those economies will just appreciate as a result, right? So most people are familiar with real estate, comfortable with it. They've seen real estate go from like 10 to 20,000 in like 1970 to almost 500,000 right now, the average cost of a home. So they're like, oh, I'll just buy real estate. Um, but you begin to look at real estate. Okay, what are some deterrents of it? Oh, I have to find tenants. The roof needs to be changed. The AC can give out. I need to pay property taxes. I can go on and on. All of a sudden, imagine individuals are like, well, a digital asset, no maintenance. I don't need to find tenants. Like, it just changes the way you begin to see assets and property. right? I went a bit off track, but I just wanted to give
No,
individuals.
that's real helpful. Yeah.
Awesome. So digital assets, like I said, these cryptocurrencies or crypto assets are native to the internet. So in essence, they are digital in nature. This is the first time ever where we've had digital property. Why is it important? It's because with the birth of the internet, outside of URLs or emails, everything can be copied,
Hmm.
right? The only thing you can register back then when the internet was new was URLs, www dot,
Yeah.
drlauryn.com, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or www dot.
I don't think I own that yet, by the way. I should probably buy that.
Absolutely. Once you own that, it's yours. No one else can take it away from you. But other than that, you can just copy and paste anything on the internet, documents, pictures. Bitcoin, because of the setup of the blockchain and the fact that miners are verifying transactions and you cannot duplicate things, and cryptocurrency means it's cryptographically secured, it made it in a way that you cannot duplicate Bitcoin. You cannot duplicate crypto assets. Whatever the quantity is, it's there, right? So all of a sudden, you're able to create an something that was digital, that was scarce. That's a huge innovation. We've never seen anything like that before.
Okay. So, did where do meme coins are like that just like a completely different thing? Like because so we've got like XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, those are kind of the most like stable cryptocurrencies. Yeah.
The most stable cryptocurrency is Bitcoin.
Okay.
Um,
The
everything else,
OG.
the OG, everything else, I want you to think about it almost like a stock or a company or a venture investment. What do I mean by this? Bitcoin was created as the OG crypto asset. Everything else is trying to do something better than Bitcoin. Another differentiation, we have no idea who created Bitcoin. We don't know if it's a man, woman. We don't know if it was a group of people. So typically, women would be like, Satoshi is definitely a woman because who can be this brilliant to create something like this, right? I can say Satoshi is African because Satoshi understands that Africans don't have access to be able to purchase property in America. And Satoshi created something that even an African can buy, or Africans might not easily get access to the stock market in the US. So Satoshi made an asset that's available. So everyone can create a persona of Satoshi. Does that make sense? Could go on and on. Um, so Bitcoin is unique in that there is no human that you can tie to that project, but we know that individual had a good heart, or those group of people had a good heart because they saw something flawed with the financial system and they wanted to make something better. Okay, Ethereum. His name is Vitalik Buterin, young man. He said, "Oh, Bitcoin mainly is for moving Bitcoin itself from one wallet to the other. But Bitcoin cannot do other things. Bitcoin, cannot be used for real estate properties, or Bitcoin cannot be used for buying car, like Bitcoin cannot be used for title insurance, or Bitcoin cannot be used to program software, or Bitcoin cannot be used to build an app on the iPhone, right? So Vitalik wanted something more, something better. And in doing so, he created Ethereum to be cheaper, faster, and programmable. Solana is like, Ethereum thought that they were creating something better, but in fact, Ethereum is kind of slow. So Solana is very fast, like, and then XRP is like, we're going to create a token that banks are going to want for their financial transactions. So that's why I say all of these other tokens are venture bets, or in essence, they are almost like individual companies. So Bitcoin is the OG. You can't trace it to any human. All of the other tokens, you can trace it to a human or a group of people that everyone knows because all of them, they are public. So just by taking a step and looking at that, if you were to ask me, let's say I had $10,000
I
or
was gonna say,
$1,000.
or you are so good at reading my mind because I'm like, okay, so
Yeah,
are you doing 50% Bitcoin and then the other 50% distributed? Because those other ones have the capacity to like take off, right? Like,
absolutely.
but
They
they
do.
also have the capacity to, yeah, not as,
Yes. This is a general ballpark, but I would say 60 to 80% should be Bitcoin. Um, in my opinion, everyone can kind of adjust that to their preference. So 60 to 80%. Why am I saying that? Let's say an individual first got an allocation to Bitcoin. So let's take $10,000, right? So 10,000 of that 10, let's say I put either 6 or 8K into Bitcoin, right? Well, it leaves you the ability to add to that. The next phase, if a person goes from, let's call it Bitcoin, then the next, in my opinion, should be either Ethereum or Solana. Okay, so Ethereum, Solana, then an individual can decide the allocation that they want. And for me, I feel like bringing that allocation to 90%. So let's say a person did 60% Bitcoin. Well, then Ethereum or Solana or both of them, they'll add 30% of that, right? And then there'll be 10% that's left. And that 10% can be used for anything. XRP, Hedera, Render. There's just so many crypto assets, Dogecoin, and we can also define what a meme coin is shortly.
listen, if I'm brand new to crypto and I'm putting $10,000, I ain't putting a penny on Dogecoin or a meme coin. Like, maybe when we start really playing, but like I'll put a dollar. I'll put a dollar on a
Dollar,
Dogecoin.
1,000%. Um, no, but Bitcoin is definitely the place to be. So let's say someone did 80% Bitcoin. So then once again, their 10% bringing it up to 90 would either go to, Ethereum or Solana. Then the remaining 10%, they can, if they wanted to, they can dabble in other things, right? There's also NFTs. There's so many things that will come over the years, and we're just barely scratching the surface. And if you're wondering why this allocation, you want majority of your money in the thing that is relatively stable and it's not going anywhere, in my opinion. But the other allocations, because they are relatively small as compared to Bitcoin, they have, if they succeed, exponential growth, right? So then, even though it's a small allocation, it could be huge over the long term if it's successful. So that gives you kind of like a general idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So, you've sold me. I'm gonna go invest my first $10,000 in crypto. Now, first of all, actually, let's have a mindset question about like this is are the, is this is like a long term thing, right? Like I was hearing my husband talk to our financial dude and he was asking like should I be like selling, trading some of this, and he our guys like basically equated Bitcoin to like real estate in New York City or in Manhattan, where it's like if you owned real estate in Manhattan in like 1910 and like would you be better off selling it in 1915 or waiting until 2025, like, right? And so he has this like I guess this idea that like hold on to this because the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years can be insane. So like mindset going in, is that the mindset you recommend for people of like this is a long game versus like, oh, okay, I'm going to put 10,000 in and then once it gets up to 20,000, I'm going to pull it out and you'd be like, "No, let it keep going."
Well, you bring up just such an excellent point. Definitely long term. Not only long term, there's a fundamental rule uh, with Bitcoiners, and the rule is you never sell Bitcoin. I remember saying this to my wife, Tiff. I told her, Beauty, we never sell Bitcoin. And she's like, what if we don't sell it? How are we going to make money? Like, you're putting all of this money into this thing and we're never going to sell it. How are we going to make money? Most people don't know this, Lauren, but similar to how you can pull equity out of real estate property. So I like that that financial advisor compared Bitcoin to prime property in New York City. You can borrow against your Bitcoin. So on Coinbase, you can borrow against Bitcoin in all states except New York. And I'm hoping New York becomes more lenient, but in all states, you can borrow against your Bitcoin. So that is game changer, right? So let's assume an individual has $10,000 and they put it into all 10,000 into Bitcoin. And also for those listening, when we're looking at the percentages, do note that we're not saying an individual takes all of their money and then puts all of their money into crypto assets. We're saying that the portion of their financial portfolio that they want to commit to digital or crypto assets, that is what we broke up into kind of percentages, right? So that 10,000, Lauren, you can borrow up to $8,500 against that 10,000. So and this is mind blowing. I believe 2 or 3 months ago, I actually did that transaction just to pull money out to see if it's legitimate. Does it work? First and foremost, they didn't ask me for my name. They didn't ask me for my address. They didn't ask me whether I have a job. The only thing that the blockchain cares about is that there's verifiable proof you own Bitcoin. If you own Bitcoin, you are guaranteed the loan. It takes 12 seconds to be approved, and that money is instantly available in your Coinbase account. And then 24 hours, you can transfer that cash into your bank account. I was mind blown. Like, what? How does the transaction work? They lock up your $10,000 of Bitcoin as collateral. They release 8,500 to you. But here's the secret. You don't want to take the max of what they are providing to you, right? So maybe you, instead of 8,500, you take about 7,000 or 6,000. Why? So that you have a wiggle room in case the value of Bitcoin is to reduce. You don't want to get a notification that, hey, you have to put up more money because Bitcoin is valued less.
Okay.
So if someone has 10K and they are borrowing 6,000, that's very, very safe. Bitcoin might have to drop like 50% or so before they would have to put up a little bit of collateral. Um, and also with these loans, there's no monthly payment. Right? So there's no monthly payment. The interest, which right now is 5% a year, that 5% a year, I know it's mind blowing. I trust me, I've been in this space, and every time that I hear this, I'm like, wait, I can get a loan. It's approved in 12 seconds. It's guaranteed. It hits the account instantly. I transfer it into my bank account in 24 hours. There's no monthly payment. And the 5% interest is just added to the principal of the loan. You never have to pay anything a month. Oh, by the way, if Bitcoin is increasing over time, you are able to borrow more money. Like poof.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you keep mentioning Coinbase. Is that a wallet?
It is it's a crypto exchange. What
Okay.
is a crypto exchange? It is a place where you can go to buy crypto assets
It's
or
like a
digital.
bank?
Exactly. It's like a bank that allows you to buy crypto. So that's where you can go to buy Bitcoin. That's where you can go to buy Ethereum. That's where you can go to buy Solana, XRP, all of these
Okay.
other things.
Oh, so it's
So
more like a Neiman Marcus.
it's it's like a Neiman Marcus, or better yet, it's like a Target, it's like a Walmart, or it's like a Fidelity, a Charles Schwab, a JP Morgan, right? Or you had mentioned Edward Jones. So it's like I think a bank is the best way to describe it, but also you're able to get a variety of things, crypto assets there. So yes, Neiman Marcus will be a phenomenal
Okay. All right. So I have ten
comparison.
thousand dollars. You have more than sold me that I'm going to do this. So what is my first step? I need to start with a wallet. Is that what I need to buy first? No.
No, I
Okay.
want individuals listening to this. It's very important, and I say this all the time. The concept of having a crypto wallet is an advanced step. Okay. So until an individual been has owned crypto assets for maybe at least a year or so, don't be looking at wallets just yet.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
it's something that an individual can do in the future. So instead of looking at wallets, what should individuals focus on? Buying from a trusted crypto exchange. Here in the what was that like Coinbase? Coinbase is the most trusted crypto exchange in the US. There are many others. There's Coinbase, there is Robinhood, there's Fidelity, there is Kraken. I can go on and on. There's SoFi. There's so many places. And nowadays you can get a Bitcoin
Are they different
investment
prices?
fund.
Or are they all the exact same prices at all those?
They are all the exact same prices. When you're buying Bitcoin, it's pretty much the same price, give and take. Some exchanges might add a little bit of fees to the transaction, so it might offset the price a bit, but overall, generally, they are in the same ballpark.
Okay.
So, individual signs up for a crypto exchange, and that's how they buy their crypto assets. The difference between a crypto exchange and your wallet is when you buy the crypto asset at an exchange like Coinbase, it is your asset, but in quotes, Coinbase is acting as a bank that's holding your assets for
Okay.
you, right? The wallet is yours. It's in your possession. You have self custody of it. So the OG crypto people are like, why are you keeping your crypto assets with the bank? We're trying to take out banks from you get what I
So
mean? We're trying.
are the wallet people, are
Mhm.
these like the stories you hear about the guy who accidentally threw away his hard drive and was like, has been searching for it for like years and years?
Exactly.
Because
That's the
that has
down.
his wallet on it.
Yeah, that's the downside. Your money wasn't at a bank. So the money wasn't being uh, protected at a bank where you can go and get it. You wanted to manage it yourself. Well, if you're managing it yourself, you better be good. You better know
Okay.
what you're doing because if you lose it, it's gone. There's no one you can go and ask, can you help me find my wallet? Or
Right.
can you help me figure out the code, the seed phrase to the wallet to unlock it? If you lose the seed phrase, you just go down this path where individuals have horrible experiences. But along those lines, I do want to notify individuals when you do sign up for a crypto exchange like Coinbase or Robinhood, one thing that I tell people is never ever respond to any email you get about your crypto account. Never respond to any text message you get about your crypto account, right? It's fascinating. I can be walking around or doing some work and I get a text message. Hans, someone is trying to access your crypto wallet on Coinbase. Call this number right away. And I look at it and I laugh. No, I'm not calling anyone. Okay. Like that crypto asset is on Coinbase. Coinbase will never allow it to be moved. If someone doesn't have your login with your password, including oftentimes, an encrypted code that you have to enter to unlock the funds. So I know that when I receive those emails, it's not legitimate, right? So I just want individuals to know when you do sign up for that crypto wallet, never respond to any text, any email.
That's
Just know
fantastic.
your crypto asset is there and it's not going anywhere.
So we've definitely talked about it more as like an investment, but then
Mhm,
there's also like this world where I could buy something from you with
mhm,
crypto, right?
absolutely.
Like, and that's not really happening yet, or is it? I mean,
Yeah, very good question. The Genius Act was just passed in July. What that does is it tokenizes the US dollar. So the US dollar is now available to legally run on the blockchain. And the popular blockchain that it's being used on right now is Ethereum and Solana. It's also on Tron, which is another, blockchain. So legally now, the US people can get access to the dollar outside of a bank. This completely disrupts international finance, right? Because once again, going back, being someone who was born and raised in Ghana, West Africa, you can imagine now anyone with a smartphone can get dollars. That's huge. So yes, if you have a digital dollar, what can you do? You can purchase Lauryn, your programs, if you have any, your services, things of that nature. People can buy my program, right, and become a part of my community, if I was accepting stable coins. Now, the bill was just passed last month, so it's going to take about, let's call it 6 to 12 months for us to begin to see it spread and be more and be used. So I believe in the future, individuals won't have to worry about wire transfers where you have to go and sit at a bank and fill, a paper sheet. They can just send tokenized dollars from one account to the other. It's going to be instant. It's going to be free. They're not going to charge for wire transfers anymore because those transactions are sent in a millisecond. It's free to them. There's no point in charging people $25 or $35 to send a wire. So it's upgrading the financial system. It's tokenizing dollars. Very soon, we're going to tokenize pretty much everything. Individuals are trying to buy tickets to a Taylor Swift concert. They have to sit on Ticketmaster website for like an hour and 30 minutes because the system is not able to figure out how to do all of these things. Once again, blockchain, list of transactions in a block, people can just buy, and those transactions are just there. No one can alter it. So tickets can just be purchased. And if it's 1 minute where the tickets are available and everyone buys their ticket in a minute, it's gone. You get it? So
Yeah.
tickets can be tokenized. And then we go on and on to other things. Stocks can be tokenized, bonds can be tokenized, investment funds can be tokenized.
Okay. But we never sell Bitcoin.
Yes, you never sell
So
your Bitcoin.
is this like one of those things where like, yep, your Ethereum, like, sure, you can buy a pizza
Mhm.
for whatever Ethereum, but we are not doing that with our Bitcoin, right? Like we don't,
Well, you can technically do that with Bitcoin. You can technically do that
but
with
you would
Ethereum.
not ever.
So, okay, it's two things. I'm thinking about how to answer this question from the standpoint of how the OG crypto or the OG Bitcoiners will want me to answer this question, right? Okay, never sell your Bitcoin if you are viewing Bitcoin as a multi-generational wealth building tool. Never sell it, right? But Bitcoin was created as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So
Right.
Satoshi, the creator, wanted us to use it as a form of money. So, in the future, we're more than likely to see a law passed that allows individuals to be able to use Bitcoin to buy things without having to pay capital gains on that. Right now, if you were to use Bitcoin to buy something, let's say Bitcoin has increased in value. If you use Bitcoin to buy something, it's going to trigger a capital gain because it's appreciated in value and you are selling it. So you have to pay
Mm,
taxes on the gain of that
okay.
asset. With stable coins, the US dollar, because it doesn't increase or decrease in value, when you are using US dollar tokens to buy things, there's no taxable transaction when that happens. So because of that, you are disincentivized from using Bitcoin for transactions. But over the next year or two, more than likely, they will have a de minimis amount. Maybe you can use up to $10,000 of your Bitcoin a year, and you will not have to pay capital gains tax on it, right? Or maybe $600 per transaction, no more than $600 per transaction. You won't have to pay capital gains tax. When that happens, you're going to see people possibly spending their Bitcoin. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, the Bitcoin network is better and stronger when people use the network for transactions.
Okay. Gosh,
Yes.
the US government and Federal Reserve has got to hate this.
Yes, they hated it for a very long time, tried to say that it is a network that scammy people use. It's used for illicit activities. It's the black market. People should stay away from it. And people just, were embracing this. So they try to paint it as a horrible thing. Why? Because they can't control it, right? The US government cannot say, oh, we want to take over the Bitcoin network and we are going to decide who gets the Bitcoin, or we're going to decide if we want to create more Bitcoin. No one controls Bitcoin. They can't. So, in essence, yes, they don't like it. However, this current administration has flipped their posture. They are now pro crypto, pro Bitcoin. You might be wondering why. It's a little bit of a long story, but let me make it short. The prior administration was somewhat hostile to crypto. So this administration wanted to posture against the prior administration by saying, oh, you know what? We are pro crypto. Why did they flip to pro crypto? In 2019, Trump posted on Twitter and said Bitcoin is used for illegal and nefarious activities. I don't like Bitcoin. I prefer the dollar. That was a tweet that Trump put out. 2024, he said, I'm going to make America the crypto capital of the world. What changed? He found out that 50 million individuals in the US hold crypto. And he's like, oh, those are voters. There are people who could possibly vote for me. So all of a sudden, he became pro crypto, and he has shifted half of his net worth into the crypto space. So right now, in the coming years or decades, the, in quotes, Trump family will be half real estate, half crypto. That is quite shocking and telling. And when I say shocking, not shocking in necessarily a negative way, it's shocking because I don't think people are paying attention to what's happening. It's really it's a big deal. Now, for individuals who are listening who, let's call it, might not like Trump, and which is understandable. We live in a world where it's like kind of 50-50. Half of the people like him, half of the people don't like him. I don't want you to associate Bitcoin with Trump, or I don't want you to associate crypto with Trump. Remember, Bitcoin was started in 2008, October, right? Bitcoin doesn't need any administration. And also, administrations just last 4 years.
I know, but do you worry then about the next administration? So what if the next administration just wants to posture against Trump? Like, there's a lot of laws that could change and flip, right?
Phenomenal question. So let's play it out in terms of next administration. So this administration is very pro crypto. Let's assume that we are still around 50 million people hold crypto. Right now, they are pushing crypto into the financial system, right? Tying it to the dollar. It's going to be in 401ks and investment accounts. 2 days ago, they announced that government data like GDP, unemployment, will now be listed on blockchains as verifiable proof. So they are going to do all of these things over the next 4 years, give and take, to integrate the economy with crypto in a way that's going to be very difficult to kind of unravel. Let's even assume that another administration wanted to posture against crypto. In 4 years, we're going to go from 50 million people hold Bitcoin and crypto to maybe 125 million. Because people are going to see that this thing increases in value. I'm going to buy it. So now you're going to have 125 million or 130 million Americans who hold crypto assets. Lauryn, you tell me, if you owned crypto assets and you've seen your wealth double over the next 4 years, and a president was running, doesn't matter if it's your favorite president, maybe Oprah is running in 2028, right? I would vote for her.
She's going to get in the way of me and my wealth building.
But if Oprah said, I am going to ban
all of
Bitcoin,
America's going to turn Republican.
Yes, I'm not going to vote
real
for
fast.
I'm not going to vote for you. I'm sorry. I like you, but I'm not going to vote for you. So in essence, I'm trying to say that when there's a financial incentive, right? That's why even though Trump, not to get into politics, is a Republican, he couldn't say, I'm going to get rid of Social Security. I'm going to get rid of Medicare. Because you cannot touch people's money. That's the thing that you don't want to do. So in the same way, if we go from 50 million Americans to like 100 or 125, anyone who wants to be president in 2028, they will be pro crypto. And it's not a matter of if they want to, they will be forced to, because they are not going to get the votes if they are not.
Yeah, it's like crypto has have you ever read Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point?
Tipping point,
Yeah.
I've seen
So
it.
it's like crypto, I don't know when it happened, but it definitely has become so mainstream accepted that yeah, you
Yeah,
can't.
imagine they just are they just approved for Bitcoin and crypto assets to be allowed in retirement accounts. So 401ks. So think about it, like which person is running for president saying I'm going to like derail your 401k?
Right.
It's going to be very difficult. One subtle thing that I want to share also is right now Bitcoin is about $100,000, right? Give and take 110, but let's say 100,000. There's estimates that we could see Bitcoin get to 1 million by 2030 or 2033.
That is not that far from now.
It's not. Some financial institutions believe 2029. But let's just say ballpark 2030, 100K to 1 million. When Bitcoin gets to $1 million, the largest group of millionaires in the world will be Bitcoiners. So I want you to think about that for a moment. The people who have the most money in the world at that time are Bitcoiners. Rich people are the ones who fund government. So you can play the game theory through different like routes and it all lands to the same point. Everyone will be pro Bitcoin and pro crypto because there is no reason to be anti it. It just helps everyone who pushes in that direction. You were talking about a financial advisor at the beginning of this. You said Edward Jones. Currently, Edward Jones, outside of ETFs, I don't even know if they allow ETFs. Outside of ETFs, they will not allow financial advisors to recommend crypto assets to clients. Right?
That's
They are,
another reason I just love. We'll just add it to the list of reasons that I use Edward Jones as like a joke multiple times a
yeah,
week.
they don't allow it. But at a certain point, they are going to realize that the companies that are taking in clients and putting their money into crypto assets, those companies are growing faster than Edward Jones. So at a certain point, Edward Jones will be like, no, 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 no. We need to embrace this. Not because they wanted to. All incentives align everyone who owns Bitcoin or crypto assets because it's like everyone benefits. That's the really cool thing about this technology. It treats everyone the same. If you ignore it and say, "Oh, I'm not pro crypto. I'm never buying Bitcoin." Coinbase was just added to the S&P 500 2-3 months ago. So even people who are anti-crypto own crypto. They
Oh,
just don't know.
you don't even know. If you have money in the S&P, you own crypto.
You own
So,
crypto. So yeah, it's so fascinating. Everything is aligned to crypto dominating.
okay. So one of my final questions here, but like, so are there countries
Mhm.
that are being extremely anti, like are Russia and China, like are there are certain countries where their citizens are not allowed to be doing this? And then on the flip side, are there countries that are taking big swings with crypto that I should be looking at buying real estate in? Like, should I
Yeah.
be worrying, like looking at giving up my US citizenship to a different country because they're doing really cool stuff?
For those who are interested in exploring that concept, Balaji Srinivasan, he is big on this concept of network states. He believes that as the people who own Bitcoin and crypto assets accumulate more wealth, we will want to create our own country because individuals or governments might become a bit potentially hostile against crypto holders. So then there's this concept of a network state. So individuals will group together as a network and go and build their own
It's
country.
gonna be like Dubai, except like just like the richest be like, geez Louise. No
That's why
crime, just a bunch of rich people.
I'm gonna, yes, because he believes that in that instance, you can protect your property. Why? Because even I said that crypto is going to be in the S&P 500, but that means individuals need to have exposure to the S&P. So if a person is not investing at all, they don't own any assets, they are not going to have exposure to crypto. So we could see a world where, people will be like, hey, why do all the crypto people have so much money? Government, can you take some of their crypto and distribute it to us? And that is where the OG Bitcoiners will say, that's why we believe in holding crypto in your wallet. Because if you own crypto in your wallet, the government cannot touch it. But if you own crypto with Coinbase, the government can go to Coinbase and say, hey,
Well, that's what
Coinbase.
I was gonna say when you're doing that. I was like, I know exactly. I am married to that conspiracy theorist who is like, I don't trust our government at all.
Yep.
As soon as they see a way to control this, they're going to.
Yeah, the way that the US government can control it, if we're far from that. Obviously, with the current administration, we all know that they are incentivized and aligned in a way that they're not going to do this. And obviously, I think that there's going to be signs if someone is running for president and the person is very anti private property.
Okay.
Personally, I'll be planning an alternative even before that election because I'm not going to wait till the very end. So I believe that there's going to be signs for individuals to be able to see what's to come. But if you have someone who's genuinely moderate down the line, it doesn't necessarily flip too far left or too far right, and it's not a threat to private property, we wouldn't see kind of any of these types of threats.
Got it.
But you had asked the question about the countries like Russia and China. So China, it's so funny. Every year, every other year, China comes out and say we banned Bitcoin, we banned crypto. It's like they ban it every year. Why do they keep announcing that they banned it? Because
Just
they
to let you
cannot.
know, we're still against this.
We're still against it, and they cannot do anything if someone is buying it. You cannot stop a Bitcoin transaction because you don't control it. So China is trying to reassert its dominance that, hey, we've banned it. What does it mean they banned it? They don't allow people to use bank accounts in China to buy crypto assets.
So Chinese citizens can still buy it on Coinbase or whatever.
They won't be able to get access to Coinbase because China can say we're not going to allow Coinbase to exist in China. So I guess your question is, how can a Chinese resident buy it? Let's say a Chinese resident has cash, okay? And they send the cash to someone in the US. It's a random person in the US, send their cash to someone in the US, and then also shares their wallet address. And then the person just sends them Bitcoin. It's nothing nothing the Chinese government can do about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, the Chinese government says that it's illegal for crypto transactions, but they view Bitcoin as property in China. It's quite fascinating, right? It's like, we don't like it, but it's property. If a person has it and owns it, they have it. The game theory is going to play for China in the same way it's going to play for, like we talked about Edward Jones. If US embraces crypto and US's GDP and its influence begins to grow at a faster rate than China, and China sees that, oh, US is really dominant and they are growing exponentially because of this asset, all of a sudden they'll be like, we've changed our mind.
Yeah.
We are now pro crypto.
Yeah. And then it's too late. So, okay, this topic seems endless. How do you put out like a newsletter? I know I follow you on Instagram. Like, how can somebody just start consuming, weekly updates, what's happening and things like that?
Yes, Lauren. Well, thank you so much for having me. I know we've talked about a lot today. For those listening, um, I know I spoke to individuals in the US, but if you are in Australia, UK, and you're thinking, okay, what exchange do I need to get? I'll say go to Google, search for the top three crypto exchanges in your country, and then just look at the ratings, read the reviews so that you know which ones are the best, and then just make a decision to go with either one. But with regards to me, you can find me on Instagram at the Investing Tutor. I'm sure you find it in the show notes. My website where you can connect with me to learn more about my services is www.theinvestingtutor.com. And on the website, I offer a preview of my program. It's a $100 preview. What that does is it allows you to be able to sample the different video lessons I have in my program, and that $100 will be applied to any future purchase that you want to make. But with that $100, it allows you to get the emails that I send to members of my program. So it's almost as if you're getting access to, those give and take either weekly emails or every other week or whenever there is an important economic news and it's impacting markets. That's typically the time that I send out an email to members of my program so that they understand what's going on.
Awesome. So awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Hans. This was fun. I feel like I have graduated from preschool to maybe like a fifth grader now that I could.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna wait. My husband tonight is gonna be like, all right, have 2 glasses of wine. Now explain crypto to me and we'll see. I'll be like, okay. So there's an Excel spreadsheet and there's electric miners. Don't worry. I'll
Yes.
I'll, I'll read the transcript.
So happy to hear that. And yes, so you said you went from preschool to fifth grade. So maybe hopefully maybe sometime this year we can get you from fifth grade to college.
I
How
think
about
you
that?
did your job enough that I'm literally going to stop recording and I'm going to turn to my husband because he has like a monthly just auto purchase or whatever. And I'm going to be like, double it, double. And he's going to be like, yay, Dr. Hans.
Wonderful. Let me share this. As you said that, this was just placed on my heart. When I started learning about Bitcoin and crypto assets, Bitcoin was $1,000. Okay. At that time when I was buying, I'd buy a few $100s here, just casual. Then 2020, I was like, oh man, I'm buying a few thousands of dollars, right? But around 2020, it was like 10 to 20,000, so a few thousands of dollars. Then 2023, all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, where do I get more money? I need more money to buy more Bitcoin. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, as you learn about this asset, so I spend on average about 3 hours every single day studying Bitcoin, studying digital assets. I've been doing this since 2017. So over time, as I'm getting a deep understanding of this asset and this space, my conviction is growing to
Hmm.
the point where in 2023, I was like, oh my gosh, why is that old 401k sitting there earning like 5% or 7%? Like, let's take it, let's move it over. Why is the equity in our house just chilling and doing nothing? What can we be? Oh my gosh, let's go and refinance, take out the equity. Like no money left untouched, pretty much is the is the moral of the
Oh, I would
story.
love to go to dinner with you and your wife and just talk with your wife. Oh, thank you so much. We will have your website and all of your links below. This was incredible. We'll have a link to your program and things like that. Thank you very, very much. She Slayers, check out those links. Don't DM me questions as if that wasn't DM Hans, because I'm just gonna be like, I don't know. Ask Dr. Hans about it. But yeah, until next week. Bye.